Hi, everybody. It's JJ Conway, and I'd like to welcome you to our Black History Month series. It's one for every day of February, which is 28 days this year. 28 things my people need to know about money. Now, granted, these tips and tricks are good for everybody, but since this is Black History Month, I'm just going to focus on that demographic. Is that okay with you? Now, as we get into it, if you have any questions you want me to answer in the remainder of the series, then you can send me an email to ministerwiggins@gmail.com. Now, look, I know that's my old name, but I've had that email forever. So it's ministerwiggins@gmail.com. Make sure you put something about money questions in the title so I know it's not spam, all right? Let's go ahead and get into it. 28 Things My People Need to Know About Money by J.J. Conway, financial planner, pastor, and speaker. Today is day one, the 1st of February, and we are talking about the time value of money. This is one of the most powerful concepts in finance, and it is how you can build wealth and taking advantage of the time value of money. Financial planners always say you should start investing early. And the reason that is so that you can take advantage of the power of compound interest. Compound interest is something I like to call free money on top of free money, because really your money is making money. It's almost like making money out of thin air, all right? Let's take a look about how investment works in general. Now look, this is super, super basic. Okay, if you've been coming to my classes and been watching my videos, you're going to know that this is basic, but work with me here, okay? We're not trying to confuse everybody or be all fancy. We really want everybody to understand the concepts, okay? So hang with me on this, okay? We'll get to the juicy stuff later in the series. When I invest my money, I expect to get something back for investing my money. That's the interest. It's the fee or the reward I get for taking the risk that you might lose my money when I invest it with you. Okay, the more the interest rate, the more interest I make, the more risk I take on, the more likely I am to lose the money. But if I don't lose it, I get lots and lots of interest, so there's a balance there. Well, in two types of interest we're going to talk about today. One is simple interest, and that's just a straight percentage. Okay, so for example, I invest $100K straight at an interest rate of 10% back every year. Straight 10% interest is going to get me $10K back in my pocket at the end of that year, and at the end of every year that I keep the money invested. Now, the more powerful concept is going to be what we call compound interest. This is where your interest earns interest as well. So I invest $100K, it's the same 10% rate, and I still earn that same $10K, but that gets invested next time. So next year, it's like I invested $110K, not just the original. And every year, the amount grows and grows and grows. Okay? So your interest earns investment. Your investment earns interest. The next year, you earn interest on the original amount and the new amount. You got a little piece going on there. And during year 3, all of that is earning you interest. It just keeps going and going and going. Your money grows faster. That's the power of compound interest. All these little pieces over here that grow to be more than what you thought you were going to get. Okay? Now, at small interest amounts, it may not matter much, but take a look at this chart here. Okay? And the chart itself is just a notional chart, but it shows the example of two different investments at the same interest rate and the same starting amount, but one is using simple interest and one is using compound interest. The higher your interest rate is, the steeper this curve goes up. All right? So that's a very powerful concept because we want to maximize our money. Now, here's an interesting thing that I find in life. The banks take our savings and our checking account money and they hold it for us, and while they're holding it for us, they're using it to fund loans and credit cards and other financial products. If you stop and think about it, though, we're making maybe 1.5% on our savings account. And even though it is getting compound interest, so it's growing faster than it would if it was just paying off simple interest, the bank is turning around and charging other people 18, 24, 36% to use their credit cards, notionally with our money. So if we look at the charts, our money's growing a little bit, but they're using our money to grow a lot. Now, I am not hating on banks because banks are a business. Just like any other business, they are out to make money. They are providing a service. That service is valuable to the people who pay for it, and they are getting well compensated for the risks they take when they allow us to use a credit card and when they allow us to take a loan for a house or a car. Okay? I'm not hating on the banks. What I am saying, though, this difference in the interest, this is money we could have in our pockets if we would stop borrowing for consumables and invest that money ourselves. Then we get to harness the power of compound interest, not let somebody else harness it with our money. Let's see this in action. Let's just see like a little real world example. Those of you who've taken an economics class, you might be familiar with the story of Ben and Arthur. I know you can't really see the numbers too well, so I'm going to break it down for you just a little bit here. Okay, the first person, Ben, they both go off to college. Ben, from the time he goes off to college and goes all the way through grad school, he decides to invest $2,000 every year. He figures, hey, his college is pretty much paid for. He can afford to do that. Might as well do it now. And I agree with him. He puts in a total of $16,000 over those 8 years. Then he gets married, has a kid, decides he needs that money for something else, and he stops funding his investment account. And it just continues to grow. Arthur, on the other hand, he's a lot more like some of us. You know, he's too busy having fun. He goes out and parties, and he enjoys being out of his mom's house for the first time. He just has a good time and enjoys life. Doesn't start investing until 27. He's out of grad school, has a wife and a couple kids on the way, and now he realizes he needs to buckle down and take care of his future. So he also starts investing $2,000 a year. And he does that until he retires. He puts a total of $78,000 into his investment funds. So who do you think is going to have more money at retirement? Well, you probably guessed that's a trick question, right? Because Ben ends up with $2 million, almost $1 million more than what Arthur has at 1.5. So Ben's at 2.8 million and Arthur's at 1.5 million. Now look, ain't nothing wrong with $1.5 million. I can live pretty well and do a lot of good in my community for $1.5 million. But wouldn't you rather have the larger amount for less money into the plan? That's the power of compound interest. That's the power of the time value of money. Now, don't worry about it. If you start late like I did, we're going to talk about your wealth building options in a later lesson. And if I can just give you a little bit of a teaser, let me go back a second. We're also going to talk about how you can harness the power of this concept to send your children, your grandchildren, your nieces, your nephews, or any other young person who you want to leave a legacy to. We're going to talk about how you can fund their entire college with just a little bit of an investment when they're young, okay? If you start late like I did, there's lots of options for building wealth. You know, it's never too late. In fact, many of my best clients are actually ladies in their late 60s and early 70s who realize, hey, I got to take care of myself. I can't depend on anybody else anymore, and it's time for me to get serious. And they've gotten serious, and they are on their path to financial independence, and some of them have achieved financial independence. So it's never too late. But now look, if you are young today watching this, or if you have a young person, make them watch this, because you can get started today investing $100 a month, investing even $50 a month, and you can have amazing results. If you break down what Ben put in, that's $167 a month, and retires a multimillionaire, okay? This stuff works, and we've got to get started, okay? Well, that's my lesson for today. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have money questions, we got 27 more days of videos to make. I've got a few cacked up, but I'm counting on you to send me your questions. I'm counting on you to tell me what it is you want to hear. And if you have any feedback about our new format, let me know that as well. I'm JJ Conway. Y'all take care and be blessed.